Hello, in this section of the tutorial on the Ti-84, Ti-83, we're going to learn how to draw on our graphs. And you may be thinking to yourself, well, we've been drawing this entire time, graphs, right? And that's true, but what I'm talking about now is, what if you wanted to freehand draw something on top of a graph? You know, what if you had a graph of a nice function here, and you wanted to write a note to yourself about something unique about that function? Or maybe you wanted to draw an arrow. Maybe you had an intersection point or something, and you wanted to draw a little arrow saying, hey, look at this, part of the graph here to remind yourself of something later. What if you wanted to write some text on there? Things like that. So there is a draw menu in the calculator here. And this draw menu has a lot of different things that you can do to put drawings on your graph. Now, again, I'm going to tell you the truth here. You're not going to use this very much. I'm going to give you a lesson here to show you how to use it because it's just important to know it's here. I don't think I've ever really used this very much. If I have to write a note to myself on a graph, then I'm probably not going to want to do it inside of my calculator. I'll probably do it on a computer or just write it on my piece of paper. But you never know. So you might have an occasion to need to do that. And so there's a lot of functions in here for that. So first, let's just go to the Y menu. Let's draw a simple graph. Let's make it x squared plus 1, and just convince yourself that it's being graphed on there. And so here it is. And let's say you wanted to draw some crazy things on the graph here, and so we can do that. Let's go into the draw menu. The first thing is you can clear the drawing by hitting number 1. We'll be doing a lot of that, and so let's just kind of go down below that for now. You can draw a line on here, and when I say draw a line, I'm talking about you can define the endpoints of a line segment and it will draw a line between them. It will not be a function. It will not be a mathematical thing that you can trace. It's literally like if you took your pencil and put it up on the calculator screen, just scribbled a line on there. That's what this is. So it's basically only used if you're going to create notes to yourself or something. But for some reason, let's say you were going to do this and you wanted to draw attention to this point in the graph. So you could hit enter here to define one endpoint. And you could basically, you see how your line is being drawn as I go down here, and you have the endpoints mathematically here, and I could hit enter, and then boom, you now have a line segment on your drawing. And I could go up here and draw a nice little arrow tip if I wanted to, and it would take time, but I could do it, and I could call attention to myself there. So that's how you draw lines on your graphs. Number 3 and 4 are for specifically drawing horizontal and vertical lines, specifically. So it's much faster if you just want to draw a horizontal line. Let's say you wanted to call attention to something that was happening on this side of the graph, just to remind yourself of something. So you could literally put a horizontal line right there, hit enter, and then you could go back to the draw menu and hit a vertical line, number 4, and see how this vertical line is here as well. And you could go over here, and you could create like a little crosshair for yourself, just to remind yourself of what you were looking for. You could hit enter, and so there you have a nice little crosshair. Now let's say this is getting a little bit too cluttered. The way you clear it is you go back to the draw menu, and you hit clear draw, number 1. And all of the drawings are cleared, but the graph remains, because the graph, notice, is the only thing that's traceable here. If I draw another line segment or a horizontal line or something, then that is not going to be traceable at all. It's just like taking a pencil here. There's nothing mathematical about any of these drawings. So under this, we have the ability to do, if you wanted to draw the line tangent. We talked about finding the slope of a tangent line earlier. That's the derivative of a function. Well, this isn't really calculating anything other than it's drawing the line for you. So if you wanted to draw a tangent line to the curve right here, then you just place your cursor there after you hit the tangent guy there in the draw menu, hit enter, and the calculator is going to calculate the proper line and it's going to draw it there. But this line that's drawn there, it's not in the y equals menu anywhere. The only graph that's being plotted in terms of interactiveness is listed here. Everything is still present as you switch back and forth. All of your drawings are there, but this line is not interactive at all. I could hit trace and I could go and I'm going to trace my function. I'm not going to trace this line. So it's literally like a quick drawing. Let's say you were learning about derivatives and you wanted to remind yourself that the tangent line is right here, so you could do that. Kind of far-fetched, but you never know. You might use that. Okay, let's say number 6. Number 6, in my opinion, is a little silly, but I'm going to tell you what it is just because it's here. Draw F stands for draw function. You can go ahead and hit enter, and basically you can enter another function here. So let's say y is equal to x minus 6. So this is drawing a function, y is equal to x minus 6. You hit enter, and then this line is now plotted. But this line isn't, again, it's not a function that's in my y equals list. It's there when I switch back and forth, but it's not traceable. There's really nothing special about it. It's just that I put a function in and it draws it there, but it's not interactive in any way. So in my opinion, it's kind of useless. But they put it there, I guess, just to have that capability to draw a function that did not have any interactivity to it. And so there it is. So let's go ahead and clear the screen, making our way through this menu here. Under draw F, we have the shading function. So this is actually kind of neat. Let me go back here and let's create another graph. Let's say y is equal to x plus 4. And let's see what these two graphs look like when we graph them together. So graph number 1 is this parabola here, this one, and graph number 2 is this line. So if we then go to the drawing menu and hit number 7, which is shade, then what we need to do is tell it what the lower graph is and what the upper graph is, and what it's going to do is it's going to shade between those two graphs. So the way you tell it which function is lower and which function is upper is you have to go to it's a little bit cumbersome, I know, but you have to go to the variable menu, go over to the right hand side to the y variables, which are all of the functions that are here that you have defined. And so here are all the functions. So the lower function, let's hit enter for y1, and it just, all it does, all that we did that for was to put y1 here. We hit a comma, and we got to put y2. So we go back to variable, we go over to y vars, we select number 1 for function, and then we go down to pick y sub 2 because that's the upper function. And then we close the parentheses. And then we hit enter, and then the calculator thinks for a second, and then it shades between those two graphs. So it's literally looking at the lower function that you defined and the upper function that you defined, and it goes and it figures out everything in the middle, and it shades everything in the middle. Now let's go clear it real quick and find out what happens if you do it in reverse, if you get it backwards. If you go to number 7, and let's go put y2 and then y1. Let's get it backwards on purpose and see what happens. So if we go to the variable menu, we go over to y vars, go into the functions, and let's hit y2 as the first guy, and we'll do comma. And so what we want to do now is we want to now go into the y vars menu, into the function, and let's intentionally choose y1 as our second function. And let's close this parentheses and hit enter and see what happens now. So you see the shading is completely different. It's shading in the opposite direction. So because we've defined basically this function as our lower function and this function as our upper function, the shading is in the other direction. So you have that option whenever you go and you do that, because that sort of thing. So let's go back into the draw menu and let's clear it and see what other goodies we have in there. So let's go back to the draw menu, and we're going down past number 7. So let's go the other way. Let's go up. So we'll see under 7 we have another entry for draw inverse. You know, again, you could find the inverse of this function and put it in your y equals and plot it, but this is a nice little function. You can draw the inverse, and you have to tell it which function you want to draw the inverse of. So you can go to the var menu and go to y vars function, and you have to tell it which function you want to create the inverse of. So let's pick y1, and then you just hit enter, and it's going to draw the inverse of y sub 1, and you see it draws a nice little parabola over here. That's the inverse function. Inverse function is the mirror image along this line, this y equals x line here. In fact, I could go into here and change this line to y is equal to x, and you'll see what I'm talking about. We'll go back to the graph. Now, so here's the first function. Here's the line y is equal to x, and of course it didn't draw the inverse again, so we'll go back to the draw menu. We'll go back and hit number 8 for draw inverse, and then we're going to select which function we're trying to draw the inverse of. So we'll go to y vars function y sub 1 to pick that guy, and we'll hit enter. and we'll see that this inverse is right here. So the definition of an inverse in algebra is when you take a function and you flip it over this line, y is equal to x, and you can see the calculator did that. But notice it's not traceable. It's not really algebraically defined. You can't create a table of it. It's just a drawing. It's just a quick way to do a drawing. I don't know what you would use it for personally, but it's there. What else? Let's go in here and let's clear the screen and let's see what other goodies we have in the draw menu. We'll go in here and then down below under shade we have draw inverse. We can also draw circles. So let's hit number 9. Let's go out to a clean part of the graph. You can create a center right here, and then you could just go, and what you're doing here when you put the second point is you're basically creating the radius. You hit enter, and then a circle is drawn centered at that point that you picked for the first point. So it's one of those things. Maybe you're trying to annotate something on your drawing. Maybe you'd like to draw a smiley face. I don't know what you would use it for, but that's a way to draw a circle. Let's go ahead and clear the screen of our drawings. Let's see what else we have. In the draw menu, we'll go down below. Under draw circle, we can also draw text. Like we can write text. Who knows, maybe you want to label this something. Maybe you want to write a note to your friend or something like that. So you can put the cursor wherever you want it. And then when you get it to the point you want, you just start typing. And you type using the letter keys here. So I can say, let's see here, J, A, let's see here, where is S? You get the idea, S, and then O, and then N. And that's my name. And you hit enter, and there's a nice little text that you can add here. You can't drag it around. You can't do anything fancy like you can on a real computer. So it's pretty limited. And you can't undo it. You can't, all you can do is clear it. So there's really not that much you can really do with it. But if you do want to do a quick drawing, you can do that. Now let's go back into the draw menu. The final one in the list is the pen tool. This is like a freehand drawing. So you have your cursor here. Let me move it to a clear area. Now if you hit enter, and if you start dragging your cursor up, you see it's leaving behind a little trail. Who knows, maybe you want to draw something. Maybe you're drawing a function and you need to draw a stair step. I don't really know what you would use it for, but if you ever needed to draw a freehand drawing, like I said, maybe you're doing a smiley face or something, then you can certainly do that there. Now, let me show you something interesting. We've gone through all of these functions, how to clear, how to draw lines, tangent lines, functions, shading, inverse functions, circles, text, and freehand. At the top in the draw menu, you have this store menu here. Let me show you that. Now, when you have a graph with a drawing on there, you can store it, but you can only store it as a picture. This just means an image. So when you hit this guy, it says store pic, and you need to input a value between 0 and 9. You have 10 total slots. So you can put 0 in here and hit enter, and it's done. It's basically done at this point. Now let's say we clear everything. Let's go into the draw menu and clear everything. So let's say you drew a graph, you had an intersection point, you put some text on there, you stored it, and then you go back into the draw menu and go over to store, and then you want to recall it maybe a week later. Maybe you're doing your homework later that night and you want to see what you were doing in class. You have to type in the right number of the slot that you stored it in, but when you do that, that's going to pop right back up. So it's a way to store these things. Now, when you have drawings like this text and this little squiggly line or any of these other things we've been doing, then you're only allowed to store these things as images. You can't edit them. You can't do anything. You can't do anything with these drawings right here like this. Now notice, let me show you something else. This is a little bit misleading. Let me go in here. Let me take these graphs out, these active graphs. Let's go back to the graph menu. Now we're totally blank. Let's go to the draw menu. Let's go and recall the picture that we stored. 0. Enter. Here it is. Now when I hit trace, nothing happens. And the reason nothing happens is because this is just a picture. This is not an interactive thing after you stored it like that. I've taken all the graphs out of here, so the only thing represented here in the picture is what I've stored. It's just an image. It's not editable at all. And anytime you put a drawing on there, you have to store it as a picture. Now let me clear this. So I'll hit clear draw. Now let me go back in and just actually plot a function now. So we'll go up here and we'll say, we'll plot x squared, divided by, now let's don't do that, x squared plus 5. And we'll graph that guy. So we have a nice little graph up at the top. Now this is a real function. It's editable, it's traceable, and all that stuff. Let's say we put another function on here. X is equal to y is equal to negative x. We plot these two guys at the same time. So we have two nice functions here. We don't put any drawings on in the draw menu here. These are just regular functions. You can also store these. Let's say you plot 7 functions at once and you don't really want to type all that stuff again. You can go into the draw menu and you can go over to the store menu, but you don't want to store it as a picture because you want to be able to edit it and look at it later. So you store it as a GDB, which is, I guess there wasn't enough space, it's graph database. That means it's everything needed to recreate these graphs is basically saved. So it says store GDB. Go ahead and you put a number in there, 0 to 9, just like before. You hit enter and it says done. So if we go into the Y menu here and clear these graphs out, let's say we use our calculator 3 weeks after we did this. So there's nothing there, graph is blank. We go over to the draw menu, go over to the store, and we go and hit number 4, recall graph database. It's going to ask me what number. I say, let's go look at 0. And it says done, doesn't do anything, but let's go look at our graph now. Now we have these graphs plotted back in place. And notice that because they're really graphs, these are traceable. I can do all this stuff. I can find intersecting lines. I can do all the functions of a graph. And if I go back to my y equals, which was blank before, the functions are actually put in their place again. So that's really the difference between the two. Let me go back here and show you in the draw menu and the store menu here. When you have something stored as a picture, which you have to do if you have drawings in your pictures. If you store it as a picture, it's literally just an image. You can recall it, but it's not interactive in any way. It's just like with your camera, taking a picture, and then you look at that picture later. But when you have a bunch of graphs, which is much more likely situation, because you don't really use this drawing stuff too much. You use graphs all the time. It's very likely that you might type in 3 or 4 graphs, and then maybe when you get home that night, you want to look at those again, and so you want to store them. So you might store them as a graph database. You have 10 different locations to do that, and then you can pull it back up again, and it's fully interactive. So that's really, really useful to be able to recall graphs like that. Okay, we have gone in the graph menu. We've learned how to draw items on top of our graphs. It may not be that terribly useful. Sometimes it might be useful. We've learned how to store the pictures for later use. We've learned how to store graphs for later use that are interactive. We've covered a lot of material here. This is really useful stuff for your calculator. The draw menu is something that some people might use, some people might not use, but it's important that it's there. And that you understand how to use it so that if you do need that capability, you'll know how to do it. And it can save you time in certain instances.